with the introduction to Agentforce and Data Cloud. So this is me, Abhishek. So I have around 6 into certified, and I'm also an Agent Blazer legend. And I also participate in various community events in Trailhead community. You can check me in Trailhead community as well. I'm there in the leaderboard. So I have experience in Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Data Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Revenue Cloud, Agentforce as well. So let's quickly go to the agenda. So here we have three major parts. First one is like I'll take you through what Agentforce is, what all features it can process and what all features it can deliver. And then I'll be introducing you to the data cloud part, why we need the data cloud and what all features or what all things data cloud can promise us in the Salesforce ecosystem. And then I'll be just showing you a demo and finishing of the session. So that's how the content will be structured, and Q&A will be there at the end of session. And if you have any queries, you can stop me at the point and we can get it queried as well. Or you can drop your queries on the chat window. I'll get it addressed. So let me start it. Yeah. So if you all think of like how AI evolved, so this is something which everyone is aware of. Like initially we have the predictive AI where the predictions will be done based on the data. And then slowly and gradually we move to the Einstein Copilot or Einstein bots where we will feed up these things like, so these are the queries which you will be asked. So it's almost like a query which we already feed and it will answer based on what is being trained of. And then right now we are moving into the agentic era, or the third way which we are right now is agentic era, where the agent can understand the intent of what the user is communicating, and based on the intent it will be able to communicate back, and it will be able to give you what is the next step, what's the process, or it will be able to guide you based on the intent. So this is how the AI is progressing. And one more point to note here is like all the images which are there is from Salesforce. So that's also something which I just want to highlight. So now coming to the Agentforce part. So if you see here, so this is a big slide where you can see the Agentforce infrastructure, how exactly the Agentforce works. So I'll quickly start from a simple use case for everyone to understand. So right now, like in each and every websites, you will have some sort of a bot which is there in the website, which will say, how can we help you or how can we guide you on this process or that process. So something similar is there as Agentforce. So I'll take you through how the principle of Agentforce works. So Salesforce, as you all are aware of, Salesforce is grounded based on the trust, and trust is something which is key for Salesforce. And Agentforce is something which is directly evolving through the LLM. So LLM, as we all know, it's an our open platform where anyone can ask any queries or communicate any sort of data, and LLM used to retain the memory. So the first thing which Salesforce implemented through Agentforce is it's a zero retention policy. So whatever query you ask to LLM will never be stored, will never be used for any of the reasoning purpose, or will never be used for training. So this is something which Salesforce started as a basic structure of Agentforce, because Agentforce should be built on top of trust, and the trust in Salesforce or Agentforce is handled by Einstein trust layer. So why I started with the trust is like because we are going to communicate to the LLM, and communication with the LLM should be a proper, and we should not share any customer data, and LLM should not use the customer data for any other training purposes. So that's the main reason why Salesforce enforces trust layer as the key module for the interactions in the Agentforce. So here you can see, so if I go and ask a question to the agent, so say I'm just asking a question, where is my order? Let's just take it as a simple question. So once I ask a question, what Agentforce does is it will perform the reasoning in backend. So in reasoning, what all things you can see is it will first go and find out what what's the intent of the conversation. So where is my order? So the agent understand, okay, the user is asking something related to order. Then it will go and see whether it has some information related to order or not, and then it will first get the data related to order. Like if you have some logic or if you have some context to get the data related to order. So it can be from any of the Salesforce applications, it can be from Data Cloud, or it can be from any third-party apps. If you have any context to get the data, it will get the data and first it will ground the data. So getting the data is something like, so for example, I have my order number 001. So the agent force will first act on the order number. It will get the details of the order. Then, so that is the first step, that is secure dynamic grounding. So it will ground the data based on the principle. So grounding is really key in Agentforce because you can only, or the agent will only reply back to you if it has some grounded data or if it has something which is readily available for it to use. That's something which is key here. And then it will go for the defense, prompt defense. So prompt defense literally means, so it will understand whether it got any unwanted queries from the user, or it got something different one in the retrieved data or not. So this prompt defense is something which is an inbuilt mechanism inside the instant trust layer, which will first understand what you retrieved and it will go through the retrieved data. And then comes the third and the major thing, prompt masking. So if you remember, like there are a lot of users where we will use the credentials like something like credit card numbers or PIN numbers. Also, all such credentials. So it's not only for these numbers. Like if you feel like this data is confidential and it should not be shared with anyone, then the data should be masked. So masking is a key terminology which is there in instant trust layer, which will mask your data and it will share the masked data back to the LLM. And then on the retrieval step, it will get the masked data unmasked. So this is a key feature to make sure that none of the customer data or none of the confidential data is moved outside the Salesforce ecosystem. And then it detects the toxicity, whether there is any toxic prompt or whether there is anything toxic which is there in your query. And after all these four steps, that is dynamic grounding, toxic detection, and all these four, then it will pass to LLM. So in LLM, like you have a lot of LLM options. And right now, so Salesforce is, I mean, the instant Agentforce is completely grounded on Atlas. Atlas is a reasoning engine. So there you have, right now you have two options. One is Anthropic and other one is OpenAI GPT. So these are the two options which are right now available for the Atlas reasoning engine to be handled. So by default, it will be OpenAI LLM. So it will pass to the OpenAI LLM. And in the LLM, based on the grounded data and based on the masked data, it will understand how it should reply back to the user, or what all things it should reply back to the user. So that is what is happening in this LLM step. So here another key point which you should note here is, so this external model is something which is directly configured, and with the power of Data Cloud, you can bring your own model. So if you feel like, okay, so my organization needs to use their own model instead of using an external model, then you can use your own model and your own model will be able to process the data or process the queries. So that's another feature when it comes to the clubbing of Data Cloud part. And so right now, like for the query, where is my order? So it got the data. It went through all these steps. It identified any toxic responses or not, and then it went to the LLM. And now it is about to return the data. So to return the data, it goes into the toxicity detection. So as you all are aware, it's an LLM. So LLM can generate any sort of responses, and there can be a toxic response as well. So Agentforce or instant trust layer has the toxicity detection. It detects the toxic response and it removes the toxic response. And after that only it will proceed to send it back to the user. So once the toxicity is removed, so we have something called as prompt demasking. So if you remember in previous step, we already masked some sort of data, which we think we should not let the LLM know. So all the masked data will be demasked based on the masking identifier. And once the data is demasked, then it will go to the feedback. So for Agentforce, feedback is really important. So feedback is something with which it will improve its own performance. So in any LLM or in any application like this, so feedback is something which is important, and you can give your feedback, and the feedback will be recorded, and based on the feedback, it will work on internally, and it will understand, okay, so these are the things which you need to change, and all those things it will understand. It will learn on its own, and then it will send it back. So this is something which is important in the trust layer. And then, so similarly, the same way we have the audit trail for all the setup changes or for all changes which features in the Salesforce ecosystem. We have something similar in Agentforce as well, that is the audit trail. And this audit trail is something which is visible in the data cloud. So here, like I mentioned, multiple places where we have the involvement of data cloud directly or indirectly. So Data Cloud plays a key role in handling all the features inside the Agentforce. So this is how the trust layer works. And on my left, you can see the data from multiple sources like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing, Commerce, Tableau. So you have the option to get the data from any Salesforce sources. And with the power of Data Cloud, you can also connect the data from more than 50 plus sources, and with all the sources of data, you can get the data in a proper format, be it a structured data, it can be an unstructured data, or it can be a website data, or it can be a streaming data as in a live data which changes seconds, which changes in seconds. So be it any sort of data, it can be pushed through the power of Data Cloud, and you can utilize all the features inside the Agentforce to answer you in a proper way. So this is a basic structure or the basic framework how the Agentforce trust layer works. So here another point to notice like on the credits part. So for each and every feature you need to be aware of like so Agentforce is running based on the Flex credits. So we need to know how the credit works. So if you enable this feedback framework and all these features, then it will consume the data cloud credits and the prompt template or the prompt studio. So if you create a specific prompt and if you add some specific logic, so each action which Agentforce performs is consuming a credit. So I'll show all these things when I go into a demo point of view. So any queries in this initial Agentforce part, because I don't want to miss any part here. So any queries as of now? Anyone?
Uh, so Abhi, so this LLM gateway comes into action during the initial stage of the request, or does it follow all the process and then LLM kicks in?
Okay, so it comes in only after finishing these stages, like after grounding the data, after masking the data, and after detecting the toxic thing which is being fed to the LLM. So after removing all those things, the data goes to the LLM, and LLM will process the data, and then LLM will send back the data. So once the LLM completes the processing, the memory of the LLM is cleared. So there is nothing retained in the LLM as well. So it comes in a mid stage. So it's not at the first or at the last, it comes in a mid stage after all these successful stages.
Thank you, Abhi. It clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other queries, or let me go to the next slide? Okay, I'm moving to the next slide. Okay, so now it's important to know how the agent force works. So here, if you see, is my screen completely visible or is there anything which got disconnected at the end?
At the end, it's got
So
shown.
it's not visible. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
at the end.
okay, okay. Let me stop sharing and reshare again. Let me check the chat in meantime if we have any queries in the chat as well. Okay, so I don't find any queries in chat. It's fine. So I'm resharing my screen. Let me know once it's visible for you. I hope it's visible now. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So now, so I'll just take a simple example of how the Agentforce works in backend. So right now we just went through how the trust layer works and how all these features are handled the trust layer. So if you see here how Agentforce works, so first I as a user, I will ask the agent what is the status of my order. So this is the first step which is being initiated by the end user or the person who is going to use the Agentforce. And once the end user initiates the conversation, then so in Agentforce we have a few key topics or few key sections. That is, Agentforce will first plan. Okay, so the user asked the details related to order. So how I should proceed. So Agentforce will first develop a plan, then it will ideate through the plan, then it will understand, okay, so these are the steps or these are the actions which I need to do to make the plan work. And then it will execute the plan, and everything is on top of the instant trust layer. So if I just take this simple example, what's the status of my order? So so my agent has multiple uh, actions which it can perform, something like order management or something like case management. So this the same agent is supposed to perform the case related queries, same agent is supposed to perform the order related queries. So first, based on the user's query, agent will understand, okay, so this is something related to order. Then I need to go and use the order specific topic. So once it gets into the order specific topic, so you can see a lot of instructions. Instructions are structured in a way with which it can guide the agent. Okay, so if a query is like this, then you need to do something like this. So with the instructions, it will understand what I should act or what should be my next step. So based on each instruction, the agent force will understand what's my next step or what's the action which I need to take. And once it understood what's the action it needs to take, then it will do the required thing. So the action can be a prompt which it will execute, or it can be a Salesforce flow, it can be an API, it can be a call out to any other third party system. So the action is something which Agentforce will decide based on the topic and how the planner planned the topic or how the planner structured how this thing should work. So that is how the Agentforce will plan, and then it will execute. So here you have a lot of topics, you have a lot of actions like this. So there will be an execution order. So if I ask for an order, then first it should check whether an order exists. Then it should go and identify what is the status of the order, or then it should go and identify what are relevant things I can give for this order. So it will go through step by step process, and then it will return back to the user stating that, hey, your order is in, your order number is this one, and this is the status of your order. And it will return back your order, and it will state something like your order has been arrived, shipped, and it will be arrived in 7 days. So the key point to notice, everything is on top of the instant trust layer, where each and every interaction is monitored, and it will be, the feedback will be added back to the data cloud, or the feedback will be fed into the data cloud, and you can view how your agent performed, be it not today, it can, you can view it in a later stage as well. So it will improve you to build the agent, like, okay, so this topic is a bit more latent, or this topic is something which takes time, so there is something which we need to optimize in the topic. So the Agentforce will gradually guide you how you need to improve the LLM, or how you need to improve the topic which is being added in the agent. So this is how the Agentforce works. So I'll take you through a full demo on how the Agentforce works and how you can understand this conversation, plan, execution, outcome in a live, in the live demo session. So any queries in this section right now? I would like you to unmute and speak. That would be easy for me. Hello. I hope it's clear. Or you can ask the queries at the end of session as well.
Yeah.
Even that works for
Actually,
me.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I have one question. So you said like actually we need to infuse that data right from the data cloud. So exactly which step we are infusing the data to the agent force?
Okay, so it's not required that you need to always input the data from the data cloud. So data
Okay.
cloud is something which we can use, but you can directly infuse the data from your sales cloud, or you can directly use it from your service cloud. So it's not required mandatory that you always need a data cloud in order to make the agent force work. But the agent force will work more effectively once you have the data cloud in hand. And coming to your question, like at which point you will use the data cloud. So there are multiple ways with which you can get the data cloud data from the data cloud into the Agentforce. So you can use it from, so there is a standard feature called Agentforce data library, which I will show you in the demo as well. So with the Agentforce data library as well, you will be able to get the data inside the agent. You can also get the data through the data cloud flows. You can also get the data through the prompt builders. So there are multiple ways with which you can ingest the data from data cloud into the Agentforce, and all these will be controlled in this action. So there is nothing in the topic or the instruction. So all the data ingestion or getting the data and all those things will be controlled in the action. So each action will either retrieve the data, do something to the data. So action is something which will perform the required changes in the data. So I hope it answered your query.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone
Thanks.
else, any query, or let me move to the next part.
No, sir, you can continue.
Yeah, okay. So now I'll just give you a brief on data cloud. So yeah, as you can see on my screen, this is a symbol structure, or this is a basic structure of how the data cloud looks like. So in real world, like you have multiple sources of data. Like it can be a structured data or it can be an unstructured data. Unstructured as in it can be a PDF file, it can be a Word file, it can be a simple Excel, or it can be some conversation which data more than a structured data. And the data cloud is a platform which is equipped to handle both the structured and unstructured data. So structured data can be from any source. So currently data cloud is almost giving 100 plus out of the box sources with which you can ingest the data, and 100 plus in the sense like there are a lot of beta sources as well with which you can ingest the data into data cloud. So here the key point is it's a zero copy. So what I mean by zero copy is that your data is ingested. So your data is not modified in any way. So if I, for example, if I get some data from Commerce Cloud, you can see the data, but you can't edit the data. So the data which is there in Commerce Cloud has its own existence, and in Data Cloud it will just show, okay, so this is how it looks in Commerce Cloud. So it's a zero copy data. It won't modify any specific data. And now coming to how we are getting the data. So as I mentioned, like there are hundreds of sources to get the data. It can be structured data, it can be unstructured data. So if it is Salesforce data, like something like you want to get some data from Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, so you can utilize the Salesforce CRM standard connector with which you will get the data from the organization or from that cloud. So now once you get the data, so you can get the data in multiple ways. Something like you can transform the data using batches. You can transform the data using streaming. So streaming data means it's a near real-time data. So there can be use cases where you are monitoring some data changes in real time, like some fluctuations which happens in real time, and that's where we'll use the streaming data. And batch transforms mean it will perform the transforms as a batch. And if the data is something like files or something, then it will be updating the data on top of that. So right now we just got the data. Like we have the data which is there in the Salesforce or in the data cloud, and the data which is ingested in data cloud is termed as data stream. Data stream means it's a collection or it's a whole list of data or a whole structure of data. So now you have the entire data which is loaded in the data cloud. So once you have the entire data loaded in the data cloud, we need to know, okay, so the data is something which keeps on changing regularly. So we need to know when the refresh happens. So we have multiple options of refresh, like we can refresh the entire data completely. So right now I ingested the data, I ingested around 10,000 rows of data. And maybe after 1 month, I need to remove all the 10,000 and I need to ingest a new data. So such type of ingestion is also possible. And gradually, like I have 10,000 rows of data. Tomorrow, I just want to ingest only those which are changed. So such type of partial ingestion is also not possible. So there are multiple ways with which we can ingest the data, and we can also control when we need to get the data refreshed. So this control is something which is important because the data refresh is something which will consume the credits. So as I initially mentioned, both Agentforce and Data Cloud works on top of credits, and Data Cloud, each features in Data Cloud will consume the credits, and it's really important to have an eye on the credits because if the data is getting refreshed too continuously more than it's required, then it will exhaust your credit limit as well. So that's why we need to have an idea on how and when we need to get the data and in what sequence or in what order we need to get the data refreshed. So that is something important in the data refreshing part or the data ingestion part. So now we have the data which is loaded in Salesforce as a data stream. So once the data is loaded in Salesforce as a data stream, so it will have a data lake object. So data stream is the entire stream or the entire structure. So in a data stream, so for example, if I take the data stream of say Sales Cloud data, then the Sales Cloud data will have the data of leads, opportunities, accounts, contacts. So all those things will come under the data stream. And the sale and the lead, contact, opportunities, so all these are different objects. So all these individual objects will come under data lake objects. So first we had the data stream, which will give you the entire raw data. And then we can go into the data lake object. So we have the data lake object also loaded in the system. So now we have the data loaded in the system, and now we need to map the data. So in data cloud, so if you think of a simple contact, contact is something which is critical in all the aspects, be it a contact or a lead, because so those are the two points with which we will directly interact with the end customer, and we need to know how we need to get more details about the end customer. So the more, yeah, hello, hello, any queries or
No, I think we are good.
yeah, okay, okay. So right now, okay, so we have the data lake object which is there in the system, and now so we need to map the data lake object. So how we need to map? So data lake object is something which is based on the ingested data, and now we need to map it to the objects which is there in the data cloud. So that part is something called as data. So we have objects in data cloud named as data model objects to which we'll map. So if I just take an example of a contact itself, so a contact can have email, a contact can have multiple mobile numbers. So coming to the marketing aspect or coming to the privacy aspect, so we need to know where all we can send the communication, where all we can access. So I, as a end user, I gave the permission for the people to only access my email. They should not communicate me to my mobile. So all those things matter as a consent point of view. So in data cloud, we have a specific uh, module for consent management where it will manage your entire consent, how you need to manage the consent. So if you think of a marketing perspective, So the user will state, I am okay to receive the promotional email. I am not okay to receive any other emails. If it's some other user, then they will say, okay, so I can get the content on my mobile. I am not interested to get my content on my email. So this consent management is something which is really important as it involves the local rules and the policies as well. Like if you think of the GDPR and other policies, so this consent management is something which is really important. So we have the objects for consent management. So if it's a contact, then we need to map what is the consent which they gave and all those things. That is one thing. And so we have different objects for address, email, phone. All those things are different records in the data model object. So we need to map. So if I have a contact, it will have a mapping to a contact, respective contact point email. It will have a mapping to a contact point address. It will have a mapping to contact point phone. So this is how the data cloud objects or data model objects will get splitted up and it gets mapped the data. So the mapping is done. And coming to the governing policy, so there are a lot of policies in the governance, like how the data cloud data is handled. So one key policy or one key thing which you can refer here is the consent. So consent is really key if you think of a data cloud point of view. And now, so you have the data modeled. So now it's something, the key or the main part why we use data cloud is this unification of data. So a same customer can be there in multiple systems. So I'm there in service cloud as Abhishek R. I am there in my marketing cloud with some other name. So I am there in uh, and in a different cloud with some other name. But ideally, all these three point to the same person. So if you think of the email address, so in all these three clouds or in all these three modules, it takes me to the same person, but all the three exist as individual records in different systems. So now the thing is like we need to know. So if a customer comes and states, hi, I need to get the status of my order. So first we need to know who exactly is the customer, who exactly is the person who is asking for that query. So then what it does is like this unification is a process which will get you through the multiple sources of data. It will understand, okay, so the person who is named as Abhishek in this cloud and the person who is named as this one in the other cloud are literally the same. So then what this unification does is it will show you how your profile looks in the commerce, how your profile looks in the service, how your profile looks in the sales, how your profile looks in some other profile. And this unified profile will give you the entire picture of that specific individual or of that specific person. So that's the power of this unified profile. So this unified profile is really important to understand how all the user interacts. So let me just quickly take you through a simple example or simple real-time use case for the unified profile. So we have a marketing campaign or we have a marketing section which we have in the system, and a person named X, that person is interested to buy shoes. So from the Commerce Cloud, he went to the Commerce Cloud site and the person searched for the shoes and all those things. So with that, we can understand, okay, the person is interested in shoes. So then it's really important for the marketing team to push marketing on shoes because the person is already interested in shoes and there is a higher possibility of getting the shoes purchased. So then with the unified data, it will understand, okay, so this person has some interest in this module or in this product. Then it can create an action to the marketing team stating that, hey, you need to send some more marketing products or you need to send some more marketing things to the user as he is already interested in this product and there is a higher potential for that person to buy. So for that's the purpose of this unified profile. The unified profiles give the entire picture of how the individual works in the enterprise model. And with this, like with the mentioned use case, you can understand the intent of how the user is behaving in different clouds and how we need to take the next steps. So that's where the data cloud becomes more powerful. And powering this data cloud along with Agentforce will give you and will give you a good picture on how to make the decisions. So that's the thing which comes in this analyze and act. So I have say 100 users, 100 unified users. So I have 200 users in my org. But after understanding the unification and I got to know, okay, so only 150 users are unique. Others are either pretending, others are almost pretending to be the same users. It's something like a duplicate. It's not a duplicate. Like in different orgs, they are pretending to have different data. So we have 150 unified individuals. And based on this 150 unified individual, you need to perform some sort of an action. So this 150 unified individual, I need to perform some specific campaign. I need to perform some specific marketing, or I need to get some insights from these 150 users on how they work, or I need to perform a segment. So of these 150 users, I need to get only those users who have a score of greater than 50, something like that. So each of these features which are mentioned in this analyze and act, that is the insights. Insights will give you the insights of how these users are performing, and segment will give you like you can perform logical based segmentations and you can act on top of the segments. So that's the power of the segmentation, activation, and this actions point. So it will segment you the data based on required category, and you can act on the data. So for few users, you need to act like you need to send a campaign like this. But for some other user, you need to send a campaign like this. So if I just take an example of the shoe use case I just mentioned. So out of this 150, around 50 users are already interested in shoe. So for those users, I will segment those interested users and I will send them a tailored email or a tailored campaign. That's one sort of way. And if you take an aspect of other 100 users, so they are not directly interested in shoes, but they can be a potential buyer. So for them, it will be a different content, it will be a different context and all those things. So all those things can be directly controlled using this analyze and act module. So this analyze and act module here, what you can see, the AI predictions, the flows, all these things are directly controlled with the help of this unified profile. And that's what makes the data cloud more interesting. And it is used in the entire ecosystem. So data cloud is something which is available for the enterprise 360, which can be utilized or which can get the data from any ecosystem. It can understand your data, it can unify the data, and it can perform required actions in different modules. So that's what data cloud does in a very high level. So any queries or anything from your side? Hello? Or is this clear for you?
Yeah, clear for me. Um,
Um,
I
yeah,
have one
Abhishek, I
query.
have,
yeah.
So, Agentforce, in order to work, so do we need to ingest all the data in Salesforce first? Because based on the prompts or configurations, so the data will it will show the data, or if there is a data in third-party system, so Agentforce, if we are giving any suggestions to Agentforce, that will pull the data from third party and show it here, or how?
Okay, so it's not required that you need to ingest everything into Salesforce. So if you
Mhm.
have a data which is already there in some third-party tools, you can invoke an API. So there are a lot of API mechanisms in Agentforce. So you can invoke the API mechanisms and you can get the data to Agentforce. So that is completely possible. So you don't need to push all the data into Salesforce and overload the system. You can directly invoke the APIs as well. So that's also a possible way. And you can
Okay,
also make use of data cloud. So it will give you a much better picture. So it's up
okay,
to the business request and how they want to utilize the credits and all those things.
yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other queries or can I go to the next one?
I have one
yeah,
query.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the difference between insights and segments? Actually, like insights also in a way we are creating, like I think SQL and segment also we are using SQL only in a way to do the segmentation. So
Okay.
just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Data Cloud, we have something called as Tableau-based insights. So where we can get lot of other insights based on the Tableau connectors. So that mainly comes under the insights. And segment means, so it is segregating the data or splitting the data into different groups. It's not an insight, it's just splitting the data. And there is something called as calculated insights in Data Cloud. So what it does is like, so it will understand the data and it will perform calculations based on your data and you will return you the data. But segment means it's grouping the data. So as you can see here, so I have 100 users. So group one is 25 user, group two is 50 user, group three is something else. But what this insights does is it will understand what is the data and it will give you the insights. Say for example, like this is how my data looks like. So I need to understand what is the mean or what is the average lifetime value, or I need to understand how frequent I can market the customer based on the interactions. So those are the insights which you can get. So and insights will have an output as an aggregate value. So it can be a sum, it can be uh, any of the aggregate features. So that's the difference between these insights and segments. Segment is, in a simple terms, it's a grouping or it's a splitting of data into different groups. But insights means acting on top of the data and getting the insights out of the data. I hope that's clear.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So any other queries here? Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Then let yeah.
I do have a query. Sorry.
Yes.
So it's a generic one basically. I just want to understand how the data is pushed from different cloud to data cloud. Like, is it in the real time or will it be something like asynchronous? I just want to understand in the real time case.
Okay, so if you want to push the data from any source to data cloud, so there are multiple ways of pushing the data. So if it's a structured data, so if it's a structured data from any Salesforce cloud, we have the out of the box Salesforce connectors with which you can ingest the data from that cloud. You don't need to do any sort of API calls or anything. It's an out of the box connector with which you can directly ingest the data from any clouds. And if it's an unstructured data, so based on the type of data, the ingestion will happen. And coming to the real time use case, so you have two options to refresh the data. One is in real time refresh and other is like refreshing based on some schedule. So real time refresh is mainly applicable mostly in times of marketing or high level commerce activity. So that's where most of the customers use the real time refresh. So where the even the minute change can create a big impact. But in normal customers where we are using the sales or service cloud, so normally CRM connector, Salesforce CRM connector used to refresh once a day. So it will automatically refresh once a day and it will keep your data updated once the connector is established.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Yeah,
it answer
that
your
makes
query?
sense. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for the detail.
So any other queries or let me proceed? Okay. Let me go to the next step. Okay. So previously I just gave a glimpse on what is, I just mentioned the name Atlas Reasoning Engine. So what exactly works or what exactly acts here? So I'll just take an example of some sort of a data which we are ingesting inside the Salesforce, maybe it a structured or an unstructured data. So we are ingesting some sort of a data in Data Cloud or in Salesforce. So how exactly Agentforce learns and reasons with the Atlas? So a question came, what's the status of my order? It first understands the question and it creates a plan. So once it creates a plan, it will understand this, it will create a sequence of how it should evaluate the plan. And then it will refine the plan on its own. So all these things happens inside this Atlas reasoning engine. So don't get confused on trust layer and Atlas reasoning engine. Trust layer is something which is there in Agentforce to mask, and it is to keep, or the trust layer is something which is basic to send the data from the user's query to the LLM and get it back, and all other things comes under trust layer. And reasoning engine is something which evaluates your prompt or which evaluates your query. It defines a plan and then it refines the plan. So first point is defines a plan, then it will refine your plan based on how it should work, and then it will act on your plan. So this reasoning engine is the one which plans and understand, okay, so if a query is asked like this, then you need to do this as the first step, then go to this as the second step. So then you need to evaluate whether the steps are followed properly or not. Then you need to send the data back. So that's how the reasoning engine works. And if I just take an example of how the data cloud based data comes into picture. So if I am using the data cloud specific data as well directly, then so I am just taking an example of knowledge articles itself. So we have the knowledge articles which are grounded in Salesforce or which are grounded, and we are trying to get the data from the knowledge article. So there are multiple ways of getting the data, and if I use the data cloud to get the data, then what it does is the data which you ingest in data cloud. So it will be through a connector. So the data which you ingest in data cloud will be chunked into multiple pieces of data in the data cloud. So chunking means, so let's take an example of a big statement. So Agentforce learns and reasons with Atlas. So if you just assume it as a big statement, Agentforce chunks, or the data cloud chunks the data into reasonable pieces. Okay, so Agentforce learns is a reasonable chunk. Reasons with Atlas is a different piece. So Agentforce, I mean, the data cloud will chunk the data. It will keep the data in the data cloud system. And once a query comes, then what it does is it will go through the data and it will understand the intent of the query. So there are multiple ways with which you can chunk the data. So one way, I mean, multiple ways with which you can get the data. One way is to understand the intent of the data, which is there in data cloud and retrieve. So intent in the sense something like I'm just asking something related to order. So it will understand the query related to order and it will link, or it will provide me the related data. And in another sense, so for example, I mentioned product XYZ. So then it should go and fetch the data for the specific product. So it will understand all these things from the data cloud and it will retrieve the data. So what I just quickly took you through is the basic principle with which the data cloud works in backend. So this specific principle, in the sense like this is called as RAG. So this is really important in terms of the data cloud perspective, because whatever, I mean, if you have an unstructured piece of data, because unstructured piece of data is really high compared to structured data. So wherever you have the unstructured data, in all these places, RAG comes into picture. So if you upload a file, okay, so you need to utilize based on this file and you need to act. So in all sort of unstructured data, RAG comes into picture, and from the RAG, it will retrieve the data. It will, I mean, it will understand the intent, or it will understand the word statements, or it will understand the words. It will retrieve the data, then it will act on the data, and it will refine. So it's not required that the first retrieval is the exact one. It will refine in between, and it will return the output after multiple refinements. So that's how it works in the Agentforce as well. And this is how the reasoning engine in Agentforce works. So I just went through the higher level, very high level. So in Data Cloud, we have a entire concept called as RAG. So RAG is something which controls how your data is getting retrieved and how your data is getting grounded. So that's how all these features works specific to the Data Cloud RAG. And in coming to the Atlas Reasoning Engine, it will create a plan. It will evaluate the plan. Then it will refine the plan based on how it got the data. So are you clear on this part? Hello?
Yeah, I have one query like, is there any link between this Atlas Reasoning Engine and RAC?
Okay, RAG is a concept which is there in the Data Cloud. So like all these are interconnected. Like
Okay.
so there is no point in saying like there is no link. So even though even if you take it's not from Data Cloud, even if you take it from Sales Cloud itself. So whatever be the data source, it will evaluate the data source and then only it will retrieve. So Data Cloud, why it's referred is Data Cloud is a key source. So it can be from any source of data. And Atlas Reasoning Engine, what it does is it will first create a structured plan. Okay, so this is what I need to do. These are the actions which I need to perform. And once this action is retrieved, if there is something more which I need to get it, you need to do these steps. So it will plan and then it will act. So that is something which is controlled in Atlas Reasoning Engine. And here the data can be from the main source of data is Data Cloud. That's why it's mentioned in the slide as well as Data Cloud. But it's not required that you always get the data from Data Cloud. You can get the data from Sales Cloud or some other section as well, and it will do the same sort of planning.
Yeah, got it. And you are saying like the data will be done in the refinement, right? So exactly how it will work like that refinement thing in the rack.
Okay, are you talking specific to RAG or refining in Atlas Reasoning Engine is like it will reevaluate what it got and it will understood, okay, so is this what I need to send to the user? If this is the one which I need to send to the user, it will directly send. Or if the Atlas Reasoning Engine understood, okay, so this is not something which I need to send to the user means it will refine the response and then it will send to the user.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. Any other queries?
Yeah, so this Atlas Reasoning Engine, is it only is it, I mean, it's outside of Data Cloud, right? So it's in where it is, it's in Salesforce platform
It's in
itself, which is for,
Agentforce. Agentforce,
okay.
Agentforce. Atlas Reasoning Engine is in Agentforce. So agent reasoning engine which works in Agentforce is Atlas. So based
Okay,
on the
so
Atlas Reasoning Engine, all the reasonings will get performed.
is it only for unstructured data or
No,
structured
for all.
data?
It's for all. It's for all. I just took you through the example of unstructured. Like this reasoning engine will work for like even if you mention hi, everything will follow for this Atlas Reasoning Engine. So even if you ask a hi or even if you state hi, it will first understand all the intent and all the things, and then only it will return you the data. So this Atlas Reasoning Engine is for each and every questions which you ask directly to the agent. So it's not specific to any type of data, any type of cloud or anything. Whenever you interact with the agent, Atlas Reasoning Engine will perform, understand what it should do, it will plan and it will do. So for each interaction, Atlas Reasoning Engine comes into place. Are you clear?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah. Any other queries? Hello, any other queries with anyone or we are good to go to the next part? Okay. I'll just take you through how the customer 360 looks like. So right now, if you remember the in Dreamforce, there were a lot of naming changes which happened. So Data Cloud is also named Data 360. So there are a lot of naming changes which happened. So this slide doesn't reflect any of the naming changes. That's one thing. And so the entire Salesforce is grounded on, I mean, the entire Salesforce ecosystem, like you can see all the clouds like industries, commerce, Slack, sales, service, all these ecosystems. From all these ecosystem, you can get the data to Data Cloud, which is a zero copy, where it won't store any specific data as the data. It will just use the data which is there from these ecosystems. And RAG is something which is a key concept with which it will break down the data into multiple pieces of data or multiple chunks of data, and it will retrieve the data. And everything is grounded on the Salesforce platform. So as you can connect the customer 360 or the entire tools into the data cloud, you can make use of this entire data into Agentforce for multiple types of agent. So right now, if you see, like you have a lot of agents which is readily available, like service agent is there, sales coach agent is there, sales development agent is there, pipeline agent is there, you have the campaign agent for marketing cloud, you have the quoting agent for revenue cloud. So for multiple clouds or for multiple features, we have different types of agent which perform different actions. So all these are powered using data cloud because data cloud acts as a key source of data where it covers the entire customer 360 or the entire platform, where you can get the entire data from all other tools, and you can also integrate it with MuleSoft to get it from any third party application, or you can also directly get it from some other applications. Like there are hundreds of out of the box connectors, so you can use any of the connectors to get the data. So if I just take an example of an enterprise where I have the SAP for billing, I have some other tool for service now for service delivery. So all the data from these respective tools can be pulled into data cloud using out of the box connectors. And if I as a user or I as a person goes to Agentforce and states, hey, what's the status of my order? Then it will understand, okay, so if the order is pushed from Salesforce, then it will understand, okay, now I need to check in the billing. Then it will go and check what is the status of the billing data, and then it will return the status of the billing data. So here, so that's the use case of data cloud, powered data cloud with the Agentforce, because it will have the access to the entire data, the customer 360 data wherever the customer is interacting, and it will be able to give you the very best or the most accurate data which is readily available. So I assume this concept is clear. So Agentforce is using the entire data from data cloud to get to know how it should respond to the customer query. And that's how, like, if you have the access to multiple sources of data, then it would be easy for you to respond to the customer queries. And that's where the Agentforce using the data cloud differs from Agentforce without the data cloud. If the Agentforce is without the data cloud, so you will have a limited source of data or limited structure of data with which the Agentforce can act on it and it will reply. But if you have the data cloud as well, with which you can get the data from multiple other sources of data, then it can give you more insights on how the data is performing, what is the, I mean, more insights on the customer specific query. So that's the reason why it's preferred by Salesforce as well to use data cloud, but it's not a mandatory thing because uh, Agentforce itself can survive or Agentforce itself can stand alone work. So that's how this customer 360 works. So any doubts here? Or can we go to the demo part? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Let me just stop this. I need to go to a different section. Okay, so before I start the demo part, I just want to show you something interesting. I'll quickly share my screen. It's not the demo, I'll just show you something more. Let me know once my screen is visible for you. Is it visible?
Yes.
Can you see the PDF file? Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, like I just took you through the basic of what Agentforce in a theoretical way. I'll just show you it how it works in a practical way. So Agentforce and Data Cloud, like both are really the one which are growing, the one which is the top skill in the market. And we also plan to conduct a training curriculum. Like we also plan to conduct a specialized training, including both the Agentforce and Data Cloud features with hands-on wherever it is possible, because there are few cases where you can't do the hands-on because you need to get the license, you need to purchase the license for you to perform a lot of actions. So whatever is available in the developer edition of the Data Cloud and Agentforce, we'll be able to give a try, or we'll be able to give the hands-on on how it works, how the features work, how you can leverage it to the customer ecosystem and all those things. So we also have some sort of a training where we'll have the overview. We will have the Data Cloud specific RAG features, Agentforce and the prompt templates, the messaging, the Data Cloud modules, and the advanced features. So we'll send this to you probably after the session as well. You can probably go through this. And here you can check the contact as well. You can reach out to the contact if you are interested as well. So yeah, that's on this additional training part. So that we'll be providing after the session for those who are willing to attend the training. So now let me switch to the demo part. So any queries, or can I switch to the demo?
Is it a paid training or it's a free training?
Yeah, it will be a paid training. So you can probably reach out to this number, this contact number. You can reach out to Mr. Prabhu. So he will be giving you more insights on like how the training will be conducted and all those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I will share the demo part. Is my screen visible now? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll start with the security aspects which is there in the Agentforce. So you have something called as Einstein Trust Layer, which I just mentioned to you right now. So under the Einstein Trust Layer, you have a lot of options with which you can mask the data. So you can mask the data based on some specific patterns, or you can mask the data based on some field. So pattern means, so if the pattern is having 8 or 9 digit number, so understand like, okay, so it's a mobile number, you need to mask the data. If it's some specific type of field, so I have a field named card number, then I need to mask the field of card number. So all these maskings will be applicable when the data is being sent from the Salesforce, I mean the Agentforce to the LLM. So if you remember in the previous slide, I showed you the data masking. So this is where you will control in the Einstein Trust Layer, where you can mask the data, and you have the option to mask the name, email address, phone number, credit card. So these are this is something which Agentforce or Salesforce itself identified as the sensitive data, but there are ways with which you can configure the sensitive data. So that is something which is visible here. So we can also configure the field image masking. So if you think, okay, so this field is something which I need to mask, then you can mask it. And that's also helpful if you use the Shield platform encrypted field. So there is a mechanism with which you can use Salesforce Shield, which will be helpful for you to mask the data using the Salesforce fields. And there are multiple compliance categories like personally identifiable information, HIPAA, GDPR. So whenever you enable the masking and all those things, all these compliance categories will get applicable when you are interacting with the agent. And the next thing is the data sensitivity level. So you can also link a field stating that, okay, this field is a confidential data. So based on the data sensitivity level also, you can get the data masked. So these are few available options with which you can mask the data. And now if I go to the security aspect, you can by default enable the toxicity in the prompts. So this is something which is right now it's a beta, but I think it will be GA soon. So this will mask all the violent, abusive, or hateful content which is there, which is returned in the prompts, and there is also a masking which will perform the masking for toxicity detection in the responses, which is returning from the LLM, and you also have the option to prevent the injection of the data or injection of prompt. So there are use cases where some user will try to uh, do some prompts and try to change the behavior of LLM. So that's also something which Agentforce can detect. So now I'll go to the live demo. So right now I built a site which is outside the Salesforce as an experience cloud site where I'll be just showing you how the Agentforce works and how Agentforce looks like. So in a simple way, what you can see here is this is my Experience Cloud site. Here I can see the account details, case. So all these are the basic Experience Cloud site setup. And here I have the chat option. Now I can interact with the agent through this tool. So once I start the chat, so here you can see it referring to a name. So there are ways with which you can customize and you can, so greeting is something which will give them a more personalized aspect. So you can get the Agentforce agent greet yourself using the pre-chat APIs. So right now it's not enabled completely. That's why it's creating with a different name. But that's also a feature which you can utilize in the Agentforce. So now the agent has joined. So now if I go and type a hi, so now it already mentioned I'm an AI assistant. How can I help you? So I mean, I just configure this agent to handle the case management. So I'll just type I have an issue in my product. Need to log a support case. So here the key point which we need to notice. So based on what we suggest and what is written in the agent force or what all topics are added, the agent force will act based on that. So I'm just so it's asking me for my contact detail. So why it's asking me for contact detail is to understand whether a user already exists and then I can associate it to that contact or I need to create a new contact. Yeah, it identified a new contact. Can I use the support case? Yes, you can use the support case and I'm just mentioning the subject as product issue and the description as so here like if you feel like so right now this UI is not that much appealing and all those things. So there are options with which you can customize how the UI should looks like and all how these things should look like. So recently I think for last few months Salesforce also introduced you an option to use Lightning Web Components which will be used to provide you the response back. So yeah, right now I can see the case which is created with 170. If I just go to my cases tab, we probably search it and Okay, let it load in meantime. So here you can see that the case is created and we have all the details which are loaded in Salesforce. Okay, I don't know why it's not visible here. So this is the detail related to the case. And if you want to add or if you want to make any additional change, you can make the additional change as well in the case as well. And Agentforce also gives you an option with which you can directly have a chat with your end user. So if you feel like, okay, I am not getting a good response or I'm not getting what I expect from this Agentforce, you can get it escalated to the human agent as well. So I'm just asking, can you escalate to human agent? But by default as well, you can make the agent escalate to human agent if if at all you feel okay, you don't get the proper response from the agent. So right now, if I just enable it here, so I can see a new chat is created by the Agentforce and it's visible here. So all these features are controlled by the Salesforce omni-channel feature. If I just click on this accept, then I will be able to accept the chat and I can initiate the conversation. So this is my chat window. So here, first key thing is like I can visualize the entire chat history, what all we discussed, what all are visible. So I can view how the agent was returned or how the agent was response. So everything is clearly visible here. And now if you want to link it to any sort of a case, you can link it to any sort of a case as well. So if you want to link directly to a contact, you can link it to a contact. So all those things are also possible here. So now here you have the standard options like inserting an emoji, transferring to the agent. You can also use the quick text. You can also use messaging components. You can use the files, and you can also raise a concern to the moderator as well. And moderator as the supervisor if you feel like you need the help and all those things. So if you just mention or if you just have a chat as a hi, then the same will be automatically reflected in backend like a hi. So it's an instantaneous connection which happens between the human agent to the Agentforce agent, and you can see everything. Okay, the service agent left, a new human agent joined, the new human agent mentioned hi. So everything is clearly visible here, like who is interacting, how the user is interacting, what all the user is interacting. So you can literally visualize everything here. And you also have the option to refresh it. You also have the option to end the chat. So you can end the chat from the human agent or the chat can be ended from the live agent as well. Both should work here. So if the chat is ended, then this conversation or this session ends. And after that, if you mention hi again, the Agentforce agent will join again. So if I just click on end the chat, now I can see the agent ended the chat. And now if I just started hi, again, the service agent joined. So this is how the features work in a very higher level. Like, so this is just a simple working demo. So now if I just go back to my Omni Supervisor. So Omni Supervisor is a tool which is there in Service Cloud. So I hope you might be aware of the Service Cloud. Here you can see how many cases are assigned and all those things. And the same is visible for the Agentforce as well, how the Agentforce is working, how the Agentforce is utilizing the cases and all those things. And you can also visualize the cases reports if it is enabled. You can view how the case queue backlogs is performing and all those things. So these are few out of the box views. And now if I just go to this Agentforce service agent dashboard. So this is a standard dashboard which is available for the agent. Let me quickly refresh. So here you can see the how the agent performs. So I mean, I'm using this org from the March 2025. So that's why you have the data from March as well. So that's here you can see how the agent is performing, how the users are adopting to the topics. So how your topics are performing, how your actions are performing. So all those things are clearly visible here. So that is on the reporting perspective. So any queries right now before I go to the next part? Because I just quickly show you the demo. So any queries here? Hello? Hello, am I audible or?
No, sir, no query.
Okay, fine, fine. Anyone else or can I go to the next part? Yeah, so this is that case which got created. And once the case is created, you can see it's created from the Einstein agent. You can see the subject, you can see the status and all those things. And here also you can make use of the knowledge module where you can show, okay, you can show the related articles. So I have the case management article, which is giving the most relevance. I can utilize this article and I can use this to link the article to the case as well. So we can do all related things, like all these are Service Cloud standard features, which you can make use in this Agentforce agent as well. So this is how I can see all the details of my case. I can see the contact tag, all the details of the contact, whatever I entered, the subject, the description which I asked in the Agentforce agent. And here, if you want to make some feed or if you want to post something in chatter, you can do it. If you want to create an email, it's possible. Create a call log, it's possible. So you can make use of your Agentforce agent. So here, yeah, I attached this article. So you can make use of the Agentforce agent to work for all such related actions as well. And once it's created by the agent, it will be shown as a chain agent. And on top of this as well, we can use the assignment rules, escalation rules. You can also use the entitlement management modules as well if it's being set up. So this is a basic view of how you can view the case and how you can see how the agent is performing and all those things. So any queries here, or I just want to hear from your side because it was a short demo on that specific agent.
Can we see the conversation history while how the case is created?
Okay, so if you enable the conversation tab here, you can view the conversation history as well. So if I just go to any messaging session, so for example, because if you enable like there is an option with which you can tag the case here and you can get this conversation or you can get this messaging session to that case as well. So you can visualize this. And there are ways with which you can also get the summary of this conversation history as a case description. That's also possible, but that requires a bit of customization. So if you look for something like, okay, so if it's a long conversation, like 50, 60 to and fro conversation, then it's literally impossible for a user if it's escalated to go through what exactly happened. And in that point of view, we can summarize the conversation, we can give a short summary, and that will be helpful for the human agent to act on it as well. So even that is a possible way. We can summarize the conversation using the conversation specific data. So that's also available in Agentforce. It's not a directly Agentforce, this specific feature. This specific feature is the Service Cloud features. Like in Agentforce, the
It's
main thing is like we'll use the Service Cloud omnichannel features, knowledge module. We'll make use of messaging features in Service Cloud. So all these are native Service Cloud features. So here you can use the conversation APIs. You can use the conversation specific actions to get the conversation summary. And you can store it in either if you have a case created, you can store it in the case. If you don't have a case created, you can probably create a field in the messaging session. You can store it here as well. So those are the available options with which you can do.
I think there is a Einstein feature, right? Work summaries, uh, which we can use
Uh,
here.
Work summary, I haven't used it yet, but for the specific conversation, I am not pretty sure how far it will be able to go. So I haven't used the entire summary. So
Okay, no worries. Yeah, thanks.
yeah. Any other queries? Hello?
No, you can proceed.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's on this part. And now I'll go to the agent, how the agent is configured so that it will give you a much more idea on how the agent looks like. I'll simply create a agent. I'm not going to configure anything, any topics or anything. I'll quickly show you how the feature looks like. If I just click on this new agent, so based on the available licenses, based on the available options in the org, you can view different types of agents here. Channel experts like employee agent, service agent. So all these are completely based on the access. Sorry for that. All these are completely based on the access, what all you have purchased, what all the org has. So it completely depends on the org. So employee agent is something. So if you want to have a specific type of agent, which you want to utilize internally inside the org based on role. So for finance team, I need an agent which can only work on finance aspect. For service delivery team, I need an agent which will only answer the service delivery aspects. So all these things can be simply done using this employee agent. I'll quickly try to create an employee agent and I'll show you how this UI looks like. So you have the topics with which you can add. And next is the employee agent. So all these are coming by default, so you can customize it. It's according to your need. I'm just mentioning it as employee agent. I'm not going to customize anything here. So this is where the Agentforce data library comes into picture. So here you have the option to get the data from the Agentforce data library, and it will be able to get the data from library and it will be able to act on it. If you have the data library enabled, you can use the Agentforce data library as well. If I use data from Salesforce documentation, so I already created a data library based on getting the data from Salesforce documentation. It will get it from there. So you can make use of all such libraries as well. And then you can click on create and the agent is created. So this is how the agent builder looks like. So a key point to note here is by December, probably the agent builder will get a major upgrade where the agent builder, which you see right now, will be the legacy builder. And there will be a new builder which will probably come to generally available probably by December or max by January, where you can do much more than what I just mentioned right now. So there, like, so right now, like if you configure the agent, there are a lot of features, like you need to clearly state the order of execution, all those things. And the new builder, which is about to release, you can get a better control on. You can use statements like if, else if. So all those statements can be used. Like it's almost something like a scripting language is also being introduced to the new agent builder, but it's not yet generally available. So this is something which Salesforce released in the Dreamforce. So we are expecting to we are expecting it to be generally available probably by end of December. and and right now all of you might have heard about the Agentforce voice. So if you have the voice features enabled, you can click on this new and Agentforce voice option will be enabled here. And you can make use of Agentforce voice features as well. Right now it's not enabled. And this is the Agentforce data library where you can get the data from the data library. And here, this is the place where you will be configuring the topics. So Atlas Reasoning Engine will first understand the topic, then it will go into the instruction, then it will go into the actions, and then only it will act. So that's how the Atlas Reasoning Engine works. So this is the context variable. So as you only have the messaging connection enabled, it will only have the messaging context variable. And next is the language. Here you can set up what all language it should use, what should be the tone of the response. So all these things can be set up here. And this is the events or the logs. So each session or each action which you perform here will be visible as a log here. So that is something which you can view here. And this is a checklist. So this is something which will help any developer or any person who is working on agent to know how I need to build an agent, how to add a data source, how to test the agent, how to deploy the agent, how to route the conversation. So right now, if you see, like I'll open the other agent, which I just showed you in the Experience Cloud as well, how to escalate the conversation. So all these features are readily available here. And by the new Agentforce builder, like you will be able to view much more features in a more effective manner, where you will be able to, like here right now, you don't have that much of options to customize as well. So here, this is something which will give you whether you need to improve the topic or not. But in the upcoming Agentforce builder, like you can tell Agentforce itself to change the topic, and you can tell Agentforce itself to modify the topic. You can tell Agentforce itself to do all these things as well. So those are the really good features which are about to come. And this add to a agent exchange is right now here, but this is something which will be moved in a different place once the new feature is generally available. So that's how this Agentforce builder looks like. And if I just go back, so any queries in this part? I'm just explaining you what all you can see here, because I just want to take you through the data code part as well before the time ends. Any queries here? Hello? Hello, anyone can?
It's clear. Yeah, you can
Okay,
proceed.
okay. I'll quickly open my other agent, which is already created. Maybe I can just add a simple prompt to show how the agent works. I'll just add a simple prompt. So these are the agent specific features which is already added. Here you can customize how it should greet the user and all those things, what all topics are added to the agent, the language connections, and this is the connection. So here I am connecting it to the messaging. So I just open it in the builder. I can quickly see my conversation preview, and if I just add a hi. So in this sender section, you will get the entire reasoning. So this is what is the planning. So if you remember the Atlas reasoning engine, so this is the place where you will be understanding. Okay, so carefully comprehend the user message and categorize the user input into one of the topics. So it will categorize as inappropriate content, how it will understand the case management, how it will understand the ambiguous question. So all these things are done by the Atlas reasoning engine. That's what you can visualize here. Then it understand the topic. Okay, so this is the topic which I need to select. These are the instruction. So as this is an ambiguous question, it's not having any action. Then it evaluate the prompt. Okay, so this is an ambiguous question, how it should react, how it should reply back. All these things will be evaluated, and then it will return the data. And here you can suggest, okay, so if you want to make some change, you can suggest, and all those things can be done. So these are all the feedbacks which I just mentioned to you. Here also you can give the feedback, and all those things can be marked, and it will be helpful for the Atlas reasoning engine to reason or to help itself to work. So this is inside the agent. So any doubts here before I quickly go to the data cloud part? Hello?
Yeah, you can proceed.
Yeah, okay. So this org, I already did the basic setup of data code. I'll quickly show you what all are the connectors which you can make use of. So here you have a lot of connectors. So this is just a developer org. So that's why you can only view this many number of connectors. And if you enable the beta as well, then you can see 100 plus more connectors. You have Snowflake, Salesforce, LinkedIn, Google, Databricks. So you have hundreds of such connectors with which you can ingest the data to the data cloud. And once the data is ingested to the data cloud, you will be able to perform different actions, like how you want to get the data unified. So if I just go to my data streams, I can view all set of data which is being ingested in the data cloud. So if I just go to this data lake object, here also I can view how the data looks like. And if I go to the say data explorer, here I can make use of, so I am just selecting a data model object. So I can view how the data is literally ready in the org. So yeah, here it's not having any data, that's fine. So you can view how your data is performing, how all the data looks like. And this is a place with which you can bring your own LLM model to the data cloud, and your own LLM model is something with which you can use in the uh, in Agentforce as well. So these are all the LLM models which is already available. There is an option with which you can configure a new model, and the semantic layer is mainly utilizing the Tableau specific features and all other models. So this is a different concept. And the IND resolution is something which I already mentioned to you, like how the system will unify the profile. I think, yeah, I have the unified profile which is being created for the unified individual. Here I can see, okay, so out of 47, I identified 44 unique profiles. So this means 3 profiles are not a unique one. So this is something key which we used to get from the unified profile. And if you just go to the segments, so for example, if I just go to this lead segment, so here what I did is I just created a segment and I just added a filter which will only give me the lead population. So if I just click on edit rules, I can visualize. No, no, I'm not going to edit it. And I think someone asked me about the insights. I think I have created an insight as well. So insight will give you a better understanding on. So for example, this is a calculation which I am doing, like I am getting all these data and I'm grouping the data. So what it actually does is, so it will give me the accounts by type and per account type. So if I just click on a report, it will give me the report based on the unified data. So this is the difference between a normal unified data. So for example, I have 5 accounts with customer channel in based on the unified data and 13 with the customer direct. So that's the use of this calculator insight. So it's not only, I mean, we need to have an aggregate response, but you can have the data in a different way. So this is a simple SQL query which is being written here. And if you want to move the action to marketing cloud engagement, then you need to create an activation and then you can move it to marketing cloud engagement as well. And Salesforce marketing, that is the Agentforce marketing or marketing cloud next, it completely works on top of this data cloud. So that's also something which we need to understand. So this is an overview of how your data cloud model looks like. So any doubts here? So this is like a quick glance of the data cloud. You can see how many records are ingested, how the data is ingested. So you can visualize all these details. And if I just take you through the search index, so this is the place where you will be able to visualize the chunking of data, how the chunks got processed and everything. So if you see here, so this got almost 4,744 chunks of data. And if I just open this specific chunk, so this is the Dreamforce site which I chunked here. So you can get the data from any website, you can get the data from anything. So this is something which I fetched from the Dreamforce. So if you go to Salesforce Dreamforce 2025 site, and if you go to the chunk data, you can literally view everything which is there in the Dreamforce data. But somehow it failed, which is something which I can check it later on as well. So that's how the data cloud basic features looks like. And you also have multiple other options, reports, dashboards. So in data cloud reports, you'll be able to visualize the Agentforce reports and all those things. So any doubts? I think we are almost near to the, we only have 15 more minutes. So any doubts here?
So if
Hello, sir.
I have the data cloud enabled, but if I have to use the Agentforce data library, Then data cloud is mandatory, right?
Yes, it's mandatory. If you want to use Agentforce data library, then data cloud is mandatory.
And if my data is only in Salesforce, I don't have data from other sources. So is it it's not mandatory then, right? Using the data cloud.
Okay, the only thing is like if you are trying to get something from data cloud, then you need to use the Agentforce data library or any custom retrievers or any custom prompts. But if you want to directly get it from, say, something like Sales Cloud itself, like you want to get some data of 100 accounts or something related to accounts, then you can just create a simple Salesforce flow or Salesforce Apex and it will be sufficient. But if you want to get something more related to more data, more knowledge, data related to unstructured data is something which you can't directly get. So if you have any such use cases, then data cloud is the best choice.
Okay. And for analyzing the Einstein Agentforce conversations, I think the data cloud is mandatory. Without that,
That
it
data
will
cloud is mandatory. You won't be able to do like there is a module itself to audit analytics and monitoring, and everything will work only with data cloud. Without data cloud, you won't be able to do any of these things.
is only for even though I'm using Agentforce, I won't be able to analyze without data
No,
cloud.
you won't be able to analyze even without you won't be able to even this trust layer is something you won't be able to set up without data cloud. Even this trust layer need data cloud. Without data cloud, even the trust layer won't work. Won't work in the sense like you can't enable other features like this masking. These masking is these things are something which you can't directly enable. Only the standard fields or standard features will get work. So you can't get into more of customization without data cloud. Here you can see how your knowledge articles performed. So all these are standard dashboards. I don't know whether it will return data or not. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is a help article, okay. So yeah, these are the things which you can utilize. So now I'll go back to my presentation. So any doubts? I just want to know from your side.
Hello, sir.
Okay. So now yeah.
I want to start learn agent course, but I'm confused, like how to start. So could you please tell me which things should I learn first, like start to end?
I didn't get your question. Are you new to Salesforce or are you new to Agentforce only? Because like here the key thing is like if you think from a career perspective, like all the openings or like right now, like if you think of a market 2 years before, like LWC is something which people will mention as mandatory. But now for almost all the openings, like people are slowly and gradually making sure like the candidate is ready to adopt to the agentic ecosystem. So you can go and search in the current market trends or like every day by day, like if you see Agentforce or not only Agentforce, the LLMs, the prompts right now, like Perplexity is giving something more new features. So recently Salesforce acquired a new AI tool, I think last week. So everywhere it's on an AI specific way. So if you want to start as a new career, so are you going to start from scratch? So if you have a background of Salesforce, then it would be easy for you to understand the Agentforce features and everything because you need to have at least an idea of the Salesforce administrative levels. Then only you will be able to handle, or it's not handling, like then only you will be able to manage or make the changes in Agentforce. That's the thing.
No, sir. I learn admin and development part like Trigger, Apex, LWC. But right now, I'm exploring the agent course.
Okay, so there are a lot of options to explore the Agentforce. Like there are a lot of help article, there are a lot of sessions. Maybe you can attend the session as well if you are interested. And there are a lot of trails which you can make use of in the trailhead. You can get your queries addressed in trailhead community. So it's really important in the current trend to have an idea of how the agentic ecosystem works, because now we are moving from a normal single agent to agent collaborations, model context protocols, which is a framework on the Agentforce, or which is a framework for agents. Agent to agent protocol is also developed, which will help you to interact with agent one and agent two. Like agent one will be interacting with agent two to give the output back. So all those protocols are coming, and the Agentforce is evolving. So like there are a lot of resources. So yeah, that's to the point. Like you can refer Trailheads, you can refer Salesforce Particle, you can also join our session. So all those options are there. See, it's up to you what you need to choose.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other specific queries on the session or Agentforce or Data Cloud? Because we just have 10 more minutes to wind up.
Hi,
I
Abhishek.
just want,
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So it's really fantastic session. I got some offline query I would like to highlight here so you can address. So the query from the person, he's actually a Salesforce administrator. He don't have
Okay.
any experience on scripting and development with Salesforce. And let's say Salesforce administration or consultant. So in this case, how we can skill up with Agentforce and Data Cloud, whether it will help him to boost his career. So what is the expectation? So that is his story.
Okay, so coming to the like if the user has if the candidate has an idea in administration or the basic development aspects, then Agentforce really is a good point, because if you think of how Salesforce evolved in the recent 1 year, coming to the Agentforce point of view, so now we have something called as Agentforce Vibes, which will help you to code. You can just tell him, okay, so I need to create a test class. It will create a test class. You can just ask him, okay, so my code is stuck. Can you optimize the code? It will be able to optimize your code. So right now, like Agentforce is a developer friendly, and at the same time, if you don't evolve to Agentforce, then it's a problem to be up in the market. Because right now, Salesforce, like everywhere, if you are looking for a Salesforce opening, it demands the skills of Agentforce and Data Cloud. So Data Cloud comes into picture if you look for an enterprise point of view. Because for an enterprise, it's not always mandatory that they will do everything in Salesforce. So you will have multiple ecosystems, you will have multiple sources of data, but you don't have any proper source of truth. You will have the data mismatches in multiple systems. So you need to know like how your data is acting or how your data is there in the system, and you need to visualize your data. And that is something which Data Cloud can promise you. You can get the data from multiple sources, you can get the data and you can get it analyzed, and you can get it uh, used for some of your calculations, some of your insights and all those things. So in all those aspects, like having Agentforce and Data Cloud, like we are almost moving to 2026, and in this time, yes, the learning or the learning curve in Agentforce and Data Cloud should accelerate, because to accelerate this learning only, like Salesforce is also providing free voucher for Agentforce specialist examination till December 2025. So after that, you will be charged to the 200 US dollars, and the free voucher is only for first time. So it's a high time where you learn Agentforce, and it's as important as you can get it certified before 2025 ends, because after that you need to purchase the voucher and you need to write the exam. So considering all those aspects and in the current market as well, so Agentforce and Data Cloud is highly demanding, and the way the AI is evolving, because it's not only Salesforce, like all the enterprise platforms are utilizing AI, and you need to know the AI frameworks. You need to know how the trust is involved and how all these features are used, and it's very relevant to to stay yourself updated with this AI trend. So yeah, that's my point on this, Prabhu.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, and I got more information.
Okay, so any other queries? Or
I think pretty
So
much
hi
you covered.
Abhishek.
I have a two queries. You pretty much you covered it. Yeah.
okay.
Anybody having any query?
What is the need of having different agents for different cloud, whereas the agent works with topics and topic actions only?
Okay, so
So
why
what?
we have different agent for different cloud is like, so I'll just take an example of Sales Cloud itself. So in Sales Cloud, so for lead nurturing itself, we have an agent. So that agent is specifically built with topics and action, out of the box topics and action, which will automatically perform or which will automatically nurture the lead. You don't need to customize. You just need to do a basic customization. Rest everything will be done by the Agentforce. So like the specific agent to specific topics are mainly based on like how far it's specified to that topic. If you have a marketing agent, then it will be more specialized to perform marketing operations. So those are out of the box agents. And another key point to notice, like to utilize multiple, like you can try to get use of this service agent in most of the aspects, but in order to do some specific actions, like marketing agents are capable of creating marketing campaigns. They are also capable of creating marketing flows. So that is something which you can't do it with a service agent. At the same time, if you go with a sales coach agent, it can train you on how you need to interact, and it can also build you, like it can give you more insights on how you need to improve while you interact with the lead or while you interact with the contact. But that much of customization is something which is not possible in service agent. So, and if you go to the revenue cloud, you have something called a quoting agent, which will automatically generate the quote. It will automatically do all the things with the basic revenue cloud aspects. But those are the things which you can't do directly with the service agent. So those are specialized agent for the specialized clouds with specialized out of the box features. I hope it
Okay.
answered your question.
Yeah. So I feel that Salesforce is wrapping the agent with their own built-in instruction and releasing with the new licenses and new agent type. So I was just curious, like, okay, we can use simply employee agent and maybe with topics and some customization, can we make use to act like a SDR agent or a sales coach? Because yeah, we can
It will,
customize the topic,
okay,
right?
you can do it, but it will be a lot of not some customization, it will be a lot of customization. And you need to be mindful of credits as well, because if you go and customize it, then you might need to use multiple actions. But if you use the SDR agent, it's a single action. But if you customize it, maybe the same action will take 4 or 5 actions. So right
Mm.
now for one action is 20 credits. If you use 5 actions, it's 100 credits gone. So that
Oh,
is something important there.
yeah. Okay, that's a very important point. But yeah, Salesforce is not giving away all the agent licenses, right? So that also cost.
Yeah, I mean that's their marketing strategy, because they can't give away everything in a single one as well. Because like if you see for a service cloud agent for service agent point of view itself, they don't need to give any access to commerce agent specific features, because the user is not using commerce cloud. So they will only provide you those features which are mandatory for you to utilize, or which are mandatory for you to run this specific agent which you purchased. So others, like it's up to the level of customization. And the more you customize, you need to be mindful of how the credits will be impacted, because credits are really important and it's of high cost.
Understood. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Any other queries?
Regarding the credits,
Uh,
Abhishek.
Yeah.
So I think it's only considered for the external users, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay,
What
so
about the internal
credits.
users? They will be having, let's say as a sales agent, I'm checking on the lead and getting the opportunity details, whether it will be considered as one of the credit.
Okay, whenever you
All the
use
conversations
Agentforce
are
action,
considered.
yes, right. Whenever you use a not all the conversation, whenever an action is consumed, a credit is used for Agentforce. But there are other credits like instant request based credit usage is there, data cloud credit usage is there. So each credit usage depends on the type of action it is being used or the type of feature it is being used. So if you are using, say, if I am going to use an action which involves both Salesforce, like I have a prompt template where I'm getting some data from Data Cloud and I'm using it inside Agentforce. Then it will consume my Agentforce credit and it will consume a Data Cloud credit because I'm using Data Cloud feature as well. So if you use multiple features in a single action, then it will consume different credits from different places.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we are on time. So any
Yeah,
queries?
final question. Yeah,
Yeah.
final question. Sorry, Abhishek. I was about to ask. People are
Yeah,
yet
that's
chiming
fine.
in. So here, since being a project manager and Scrum leader, right? So how does it help understanding the product knowledge? So I'm totally into product side. So before 7 years back, I was a developer. Then I moved to some consultant roles and the leadership roles. So can you please give a glimpse how does it help if I learn the product knowledge of both data cloud and agents?
Okay, so the product knowledge of both Data Cloud and Agentforce is really relevant because like you will be the first point of contact to design and make the changes. I mean, to consult for how you need to utilize the product and all those things. So having a knowledge of Agentforce and Data Cloud in the current ecosystem is very important because all like Salesforce is also pushing, like if you remember, like they released a free suite for Salesforce products, which will have a basic sales cloud, basic service cloud features, and a basic of really basic of marketing, which is released last week. So even Salesforce is trying to push Agentforce by reducing the amount. So if you think of a 1 year before, the cost of Agentforce credit is very high, and now the cost is really reduced. So considering all those aspects, like the way Salesforce is pushing both the products, having a knowledge of both the products to a good extent is really important because that will keep you updated in one point, and because organizations will continuously evolve to the updated standards because everywhere people will start to use AI, and as an organization, if you think, even they will think internally, okay, why can't we adopt AI? It can be their own LLM, it can be it can be the LLM which Agentforce provides or some other provides, and having a knowledge of the product will help you to pitch in, stating like, okay, so we have the Agentforce, we will be able to utilize this Agentforce product, and that will help you or that will guide you in the project as well as your knowledge as well, because we need to move around how the world is evolving in AI. I hope it gave you some
Sure,
idea.
Abhi. Yes. I gave some little bit idea, but just adding a skill set to the leadership role, I believe this will really help for the upcoming system.
Yeah,
Thank you, Abhi.
thank you.
Okay, great. So any final question before we wrap up?
So please do share the recording over the emails. No, like once it is uploaded to the cloud, please do share it as a view access so that we won't be able to download, but we can at least view. Thank you.
Sure, we will be getting it. Okay, great. So I have been shared my the community group link and the syllabus link in the chat window. If you haven't visited, please check it out. And you can feel free to reach me, and we will be help you out to understand furthermore implementation, anything related to Agentforce and Data Cloud. And this session is really interesting, and I have been learned many things, and Abhishek did very good job. Thanks once again, Abhishek, for sharing your knowledge to the community. So it's really a wonderful session.
Thanks, Prabhu. Thank you all.
Yeah.
And it's really an interactive one. Like,
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you.